In this episode of The Haul, we take a nice, gentle look at the new 2019 Roush F150. Real gentle. So you got Raptor money to burn on a brand new F-150, but you don't want to settle for no stinking V6? Well, let me introduce you to the next best thing. The 2019 Roush F150 Off-Road SC. The SC, in this case, just so happens to stand for 650 horsepower of supercharged goodness. We want to thank our friends at Roush for shipping us out this beautiful ingot silver example behind us and letting us kind of sink our teeth into it for a couple of days. And, well, guys, sorry about those tires in advance. Now, if you didn't know, Roush has been making both cars and trucks a little bit cooler and a hell of a lot faster for the last couple of decades. And while I would argue they're probably a little better known on the Mustang side, they're making great strides to change that lately with not one, not two, but 6 different truck offerings currently for the Blue Oval. This includes their new Super Duty option, the very badass Roush Raptor, and last but not least, 4 different F-150 variants. Now, if you're into more of a street or sport truck, they're gonna offer you their Sport Edition. This basically lowers a truck a little bit, puts on some 22-inch wheels with a lot of the exterior goodies that you see here, minus those fender flares. The awesomely named Roush Nightmare kicks in a supercharger on top of all that. Now, from there, Roush goes in a completely different direction with their off-road truck, which you're looking at currently behind me. This does include the small lift or level, I should say, along with the different wheels and tires and flares, and with those interior bits and exterior bits as sort of a base. If you want, you can kick in that additional supercharger like we did here and get the SC version. So now that you know what's on the menu, what do you say we slice into this big juicy T-bone steak behind me? Up front, the biggest differentiating factors here with the Roush can be found in the lower bumper cover, grille, and hood area. Now, down low, this new bumper cover, all in black, is completely redesigned in-house over at Roush, along with their brand new grille here, which completely eliminates that factory Ford 2-bar design. Instead, now you get something that's part Raptor thanks to the amber LED lighting and honeycomb material, and something that is all Roush thanks to that bold lettering, filling the rearview mirrors of unsuspecting slow pokes while on the highway. Now, that hood and windshield does feature enough vinyl to cover a billboard, but really does help differentiate this truck from other standard F-150s on the road and even those Raptors. And last but not least, lets everybody know that this puppy is indeed Roush charged. But it's not until you really take in the side of this truck where you really get a sense for what this thing is all about from an appearance standpoint, but also a stance standpoint. And that stance is responsible now thanks to the Roush by Fox 2.0 suspension kit that they do outfit these trucks with, which does give you an adjustable coilover up front along with a Roush by Fox shock in the rear. Now, these coilovers again are adjustable and they do come preset at 2 inches of lift for the front of the truck, while the rear essentially remains unchanged, and that's going to give you that nice leveled appearance that you see right now. Now, that lift does make way for a new wheel and tire combo unique to this truck, including the Mickey Thompson 20-inch wheels wrapped in the General Grabber ATX tires. Now, this is a newer tire for Roush. Typically, they go with the Mickey Thompson ATZ, but the General Grabber here is a fine tire, 305/55 R20, which essentially works out to be a 33 by 12 in inches. No doubt in my mind that this is going to be fine both on and off-road, in addition to an occasional smoky burnout or two. Now, those wheels are actually pushed out a little bit more thanks to a little bit more offset, and that's why Roush has gone ahead and added their molded ABS fender flares here. Typically, I'm not a huge fan of flares on a truck, but these I like. They're subtle, they're not crazy sticking out from the sides or the fenders, and they really flow nicely with the other black treatments on this truck, including that grille, which does incorporate the same LED lighting and kind of goes back to that Raptor inspiration we talked about there. Also, guys, some smaller kind of tidbits sprinkled in on the side of the truck. The F-150 badge is very factory-like in appearance, but they do have the Roush treatment on the badge itself. I dig it. I really think it's classy and done well. You're also looking at the Roush Heritage stripe here in vinyl. That's kind of your base option, but you could always go with a splatter graphic, as Roush calls it, or you can opt for a third lower rocker vinyl piece as well. Cruising around the back end, well, there's not a ton to talk about out here, guys, except for the Roush tailgate vinyl decal featuring the Roush lettering, of course, good old Jack Roush Sr. signature on your rear window, and smaller touches like your hitch cover with the Roush R and an optional tonneau cover from Xtang, which this truck is not equipped with. However, one big thing this truck is equipped with is the full stainless dual-tip active exhaust system from Roush, which is all controllable thanks to a little nifty knob next to your shifter. Now this allows owners to select between a touring, sport, off-road, and custom mode, which is fully customizable thanks to a downloadable app from Roush. And here's a little sample. Responsible for all that noise is the heart of the beast and maybe what should have been for the second gen Raptor, am I right? The 5-liter Coyote V8 topped off with Roush's brand new 2650 TVS supercharger, the next generation of TVS blowers, which previously included the very, very good 2300. Now, the Gen 3 Coyote found in the 2018 and newer trucks features an atmospheric compression ratio of 12:1, which was previously unheard of in the land of gas-powered trucks, let alone one topped off with a blower. Now, keeping everything happy is that dual-style injection, both port and direct injected, but more importantly, that Roush calibration, which has been painstakingly developed to balance power, drivability, and reliability, but mainly power, right? Now, how much power exactly? Well, how about 650 horsepower and 610 pound-feet of torque to the crank? What does that mean to the tires? Well, you know what's next. Let's go make some noise. Proper way to start the Roush test drive. Exhaust in off-road. We're gonna throw her in sport mode, traction control off, and here we go. And just continue to light the tires off in the first 3 gears. Again, 2019 Roush Off-Road SC. Curious to take this thing for a ride and also talk about the interior a little bit because that's something we haven't done up until now. So let's do so. Again, this truck started out life as a basic XLT, which didn't really deliver a ton of bells and whistles. Halogen headlights, cloth interior, no bed liner, things like that. And then you add the Roush package, the SC package onto it. It is now no longer a basic XLT interior. For instance, we have the Roush leather package in this thing, which is extremely nice, by the way. Nice plush seats that give you some kind of carbon fiber accents in this thing. Kind of vibes with some of the door panel stuff they got going on. The gauge cluster is probably one of my favorite because they don't just kind of throw a badge in there or anything like that. They totally redo the gauge cluster, all new font. It is completely redesigned. You still have your productivity screen right in the middle. Everything as far as the design is unique to the Roush cluster. Even the little R for reverse is the Roush R now, which I thought kind of quirky but kind of cool at the same time. It's those little details that kind of makes this thing a little bit nicer than a standard XLT. Even your fuel gauge now has premium fuel only, which again, kind of important when you're running this high compression along with forced induction. At least 91 octane is required here for this setup, preferably 93 if you got it in your area. You're also getting a serialized dash plaque here with the Roush. Again, each one of these is unique. Smaller details again, like the wrap steering wheel and some other little stuff around the interior. Now the exhaust in this thing sounds just majestic. Obviously you do have the selectable modes. I'm just leaving it in off-road because that's what sounds the best in my opinion. This is how a truck should sound. Again, you hear me say it all the time. I drive my Gen 2 Raptor almost daily. That's my only gripe. I think that's every Raptor owner's gripe is the sound. This just totally blows that out of the water and it sounds amazing. Ride quality is fantastic with the Roush by Fox 2.0 suspension kit, guys. It's firm, but it's not like over the top, jarring, anything like that. It's certainly comfortable enough to daily and would happily do so. So started out life as a basic XLT, certainly not a cheap one, right around 50 grand. and then you add the Roush Off-Road SE package, and grand total is going to run you right around $82,000 to $83,000 for this thing. Yes, that is right. I did not stutter. Now, don't get me wrong. It is not just an XLT with a bunch of vinyl slapped onto it. You are getting a laundry list of parts, but you're still getting base headlights for 83 grand. You're still not getting a bed liner. You're still getting a subpar audio system. You're still getting stock brakes with 650 horsepower. It's not necessarily a Roush problem, at least in regards to the headlights, the bed liner, things like that. It's essentially a Ford problem because they're just tacking their package on to whatever truck you buy. Case in point again, this XLT cost us right around 50 something grand, and then you're tacking an extra 25 grand onto it with the blower and so on. Now, could Roush go the extra mile maybe and throw on maybe a little bit more stopping power or something like that? Sure, but at the end of the day, they have no problem selling these things hand over fist, and I can see why. Again, because as someone who might have a good chunk of money to burn on a pickup truck, you have some options, right? You could either go with the Raptors, or you could go with the Limiteds or the Platinums, and that's all fine and good, but they don't have that uniqueness to them of the Roush here, in addition to the 650 horsepower, 610 pound-feet of torque. So guys like that who want the uniqueness, who want the power, who want to stand out on the road a little bit more, that's who this truck is going to appeal to. Now, if you don't need the power, if you don't need the blower, you're happy with the 5-liter engine by itself, but you still like the suspension, the appearance, things like that, well, you don't have to go the extra mile and get the SC option. You can just go with their base option, and you can save yourself probably 10 to 12 grand alone just in doing so. Well, guys, before we get out of here, one more for the road. What do you say? This thing is fighting traction hard. It's a good problem to have, I suppose. Guys, that's gonna do it for us. We hope you enjoyed our brief look into the 2019 Roush F150 Off-Road SE. I know I certainly enjoyed it. Not a bad day at the office when you get behind the wheel of one of these monsters and put your foot in it a little bit. Be sure to subscribe to the American Trucks Ford YouTube channel if you like this kind of content. And remember, for all things F-150, Roush, and burnouts, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.